Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover a selection of titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. Our newest release, Dragonlance Companion, offers 180 pages for players and DMs to bring the magical world of Krynn to life. And like many of our books, it's available in hardcover and digital format. Our Swarms of the Multiverse offers over 70 brand new creatures, including their associated swarms, instructions on how to make your own balanced swarms, and lots of bonus materials such as 4 new demi-planes. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs alike. Also, our book, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class and much more. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take potions to the next level in your game. Please support the channel by purchasing our books using the links in the video description. Before we get started this week, a couple of programming notes. For those of you interested in my thoughts on the Open Gaming License and the controversy surrounding that's all over Twitter and YouTube and everywhere this week, I'll give you my thoughts at the end of the video. I've also got a timestamp in the video description for that if you want to skip ahead to it. It's your choice. But also, I wanted to tell you that I got interviewed by Mike over at the Games Played Badly channel, which is a really fun YouTube channel with tons of really interesting and entertaining D&D content. You can see it here on screen. And the first video here is talking with me about our Dragonlance Companion and several of our other books, as well as the channel itself. So I hope you check it out. Give Mike a sub while you're there. Lots of great content waiting for you on that channel. It's linked in the video description as well. Check it out. Alright, our discount this week is on Schools of Homebrew Magic Experimental Collection Volume 1 from 𝘽𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙀 𝘽𝙤𝙀, and it's normally $3.95, but we're bringing it to you at 50% off, so that's going to be just around $2 for you to get this 20-page book. And it says, welcome fellow D&D enthusiasts to my first delve into my creations. This multi-planar organization consists of heroes and scholars roaming the cosmos while documenting their findings and searching for the stories behind them. You get 4 creatures, 9 items, and 7 spells for the 5th edition, accompanied by some lore. So you get to meet the beautiful alabaster snow lion or the deadly giant decaying boa. It says, are you ready to wield the fabled crystal blade known as the 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬? Or do you dare to solve the mysterious arcane puzzle boxes in hopes of receiving a gift? So lots of fun stuff in here, and it's really, really an interesting collection. I was excited when I saw that this was going to be one of our discounts. And again, it's only going to be about $2 for these 20 pages. So you can see right off the bat, we've got Amulet of Divine Projectiles, Arcane Puzzle Boxes, which we'll look at in just a minute, the Forsaken Frostblade, something called Schizophrenia, and Stone of Mistra, Sunrise, Tattoo of Luminiferous Revelation. So you're even getting a tattoo in here, and then of course 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬 as well. But let's go back up here and look at the arcane puzzle boxes. I found those really interesting. So it says, the wondrous item, rarity varies, does not require attunement. Scattered around the universe, these boxes may hold the key to unparalleled power or eternal suffering. Legends speak of an inventor who wanted to arouse the curiosity of every adventurer and even of some of the gods, just to see if anyone could find them all and solve them. A puzzle box is an item that can only open after a series of checks, and sometimes sacrifices or gifts have been made, such as investigation check or even losing an arm. The DC of the checks changes according to the rarity as follows, so DC 10 for uncommon, DC 15 for rare, etc. After a successful check, the next will have their DC decreased by 2. If the check fails, the next will have its DC decreased by 2 as the box rearranges its combination. You can fail up to 2 times per check. Otherwise, the box teleports 3,000 feet to a random direction. So many fun things could be going on trying to get these puzzle boxes to open, and they can be beneficial or not and match its rarity, whatever's inside. Each dawn, the box changes its combination and resets to its original form. The box will only react to the acts of the creature which started the process of opening it until it returns to its original form. So this is a puzzle you can place anywhere. You can put this in a dungeon in the first room, and they can be trying to figure it out the rest of the way, especially if it teleports 3,000 feet to a random direction in that mega dungeon or wherever. So that could be really fun. And just a couple of the ones they have here. So they have the Puzzle Box of Enlightenment, of Soothing Storm. So the Puzzle Box of Enlightenment, it says you have to succeed on 3 Arcana or Investigation checks. Then you have to burn a 1d6 -1 spell slot, focusing on the box to open it. As the puzzle box opens, its solid parts wither into dust, and its blue energy coalesces into a series of hieroglyphics that penetrate your mind and make you in an instant brighter. Your intelligence score increases by 2, as does your maximum for that score. So that could be a really fun experience and nice increase. So if I was running this, I would probably have some sort of scroll or something that was with it that kind of gave a riddle as to what you have to do, at least for the spell slot part, because I'm not sure that people would naturally think of that. Maybe you could play it as if they spend a spell slot trying to do something to the box, like, blast the box or whatever, then maybe that counts. But yeah, I think this is just a really fun way to place a puzzle anywhere. And that was just one. That was a very rare. There's another one called Soothing Storm as well that you can read in the preview. But let's scroll down and look at Zweihander, Crystal Blade of the Plains. It says it's a weapon, greatsword, artifact, requires attunement by a creature with 20 strength or constitution. At a time of great need, a unique weapon was crafted at the request of Tyr, god of war and justice, and was given the name Zweihander. Some of the best blacksmiths from the plain of Isgard gathered to honor the request, and what should have taken many years took only a few months to finish. By combining the right materials and the precise amount of magical power along with divine expertise, a unique artifact was created. Tyr gave Zweihander and his blessing to a Solar with unknown credentials and tasked him with a secret mission that would take place across, between, and beyond the plains. Many decades have passed since this quest begun, but any information about the blade, the mission, and anyone involved still remains a mystery. So yeah, I like the lore of that item. It says it's a magic weapon. The Zweihander is a magic weapon that grants +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with it. It also has a thrown range of 60 to 40 property. You can use a bonus action to recall the weapon in your hand as long as it is inside the far range. Zweihander has the following randomly determined properties: 1 minor beneficial property and 1 major beneficial property. You get those in the Dungeon Master's Guide. And then you got Blessings of Tyr. If you are a creature of lawful good alignment attuned to this greatsword, you gain the following benefits. And then those are on the next page, so we can't read those. They're not in the preview. But yeah, I love the lore of that, that there's a solar involved and that it's been traveling through, between, across, and beyond the plains. I mean, just really fun lore. All of these have a decent amount of lore. I mean, this one, look at how much lore before you get to the abilities. So that's always helpful because you can use or lose that. But it's nice to have the option to use that as a DM. And oh my gosh, you're going to get all these items and creatures and spells for $2 or less with our discount. And as I said, we just looked at the items. There's 4 creatures in here and 7 spells as well. So why not support Giannis here and take advantage of this discount? Again, our discounts last for a very short time, usually about a week. And by the time we talk about it on the show, some of that time has expired. So be sure to click that link and grab this discount while you can. It's in the first part of the timestamps, very second item there, and then you've also got the list in the pinned comment where we have everything alphabetized. So check that out and give it a click under Schools of Homebrew Magic. All right, our first new release this week is Adventures from the Multiverse. 30 mini adventures for 5th edition from Iron Spine Press. It's $4.95 for 69 pages. Samuel Ahokas, Christopher Stratton Smith are the authors. And it says, are you looking to spice up your 5th edition game with some fresh and exciting adventures? Look no further. Add some variety to your games with adventures from the multiverse. This pack includes 30 mini adventures, perfect for filling a single game session or as a side quest in a larger campaign. These adventures are sure to challenge and delight your players, taking them through various locations and scenarios. But that's not all. This pack also includes 129 maps, optimized for use with VTT. So that's a lot. I mean, for $4.95 to get 129 maps, that's an unheard of price for that many maps. So that's exciting. And this cover, gives me sense of Spelljammer. So even though this is on DriveThru, I could see using these adventures with Spelljammer. So looking inside, you get to see a few of the adventures and some of the maps. But what I really, really love right off the bat is up in the corner here, it says APL, average party level of 2 to 4 in this little sort of red corner, left-hand corner there. And that's a great way to just kind of let somebody know, okay, this adventure in here, because there's 30 mini adventures, that this one's going to be for average party level 2 to 4. So really quick and easy way to find it. So you've got the overview of the adventure, and then it goes right into the different steps. And see some of the artwork, and then here's one of those maps. So you're going to get all of these maps for your VTT as well, and then the reward. And then it goes on, and there's more adventures in here. Yeah, these all look kind of fun here. You got the Wild Maw. So yeah, let's read a little bit about the Wild Maw for average party level 5 to 10. It says, as the PCs travel through the void of space, so this could be Spelljammer, right? Filled with wonders beyond the imaginations of any earthbound creatures, they come across a small asteroid with a valuable-looking platinum deposit on its surface and significantly more within its core. In truth, the asteroid is a trap laid by a wild maw, a living black hole that, like an anglerfish, uses the enticing asteroid as bait to lure unsuspecting adventurers in. So yeah, I like that setup, this sort of living black hole. You've got this asteroid just floating in wild space there. Good artwork for that as well. And then, of course, you've got the map inside, and you're going to get the VTT version of that. And it says, once PCs reach the platinum deposit, they feel and hear vibrations reverberating throughout the mining facility as they feel it jolt and shift suddenly. A wild maw approximately 300 feet away from the asteroid is sucking the floating rock into it. The PCs must make their way back to the ship by overcoming the following obstacles. And then it lists all the different things, including evading a falling beam, fending off a solar barnacle, reaching the ship, and then lastly, energy tentacles, where it says crackling tentacles of red energy spring out of the wild maw, swinging at the PC ship. And then it gives you all the details on that. So that's really fun. And so that you could see easily fit within wild space. But then the cemetery gates, it says a young necromancer's death magic is about to go haywire as she attempts to raise her old mentor from the dead. The remote cemetery is now starting to fill with the living dead as the ritual unfolds. She is currently in the cemetery mausoleum, trying to hold back the spell desperately. She must be found before the dark spell unleashes its energy and the undead horde rises. So that could be on, some sort of new space in wild space. So it could be a Kryn space or realm space or some homebrew space that you've created, or it could be a localized, place, maybe an asteroid that has an atmosphere and has cemeteries and has maybe a village, floating out there. So I love the versatility of these adventures as well, because see, you've got like more of a traditional. So don't let the fact that some of these are kind of focused on wild space hold you back if you're not playing Spelljammer, because I can see where you could use them either direction. I could even see with the one we looked at earlier, this one could be, you could just have it on an ocean, right? And it could be attacking the ship that you pulled up that you rowed up to that you rowed up to, and the sea, and now it's attacking you, and it's kind of like you could reskin it to be like a giant sea creature almost, right? So either way, you can do wild space adventures or some other form of space, or even material plane stuff with this. And again, I love that you can find out what party level these are for. Each of them has maps. You're getting 129 maps. I mean, this is a really great bargain from a great publisher. So check it out. It's under Adventures from the Multiverse in the links below, and give it a click. Next we have Dungeon Number 1, a one-page adventure from One-Eyed Werebear. and it is free. That's right. It's normally got $9.99 is the price tag, it looks like, but it is free for you. 5 pages, and it says, we created this PDF as a thank you to our Kickstarter backers and customers. It's an old school 1-page dungeon that will occupy a 3rd level party for hours. The concept will work with nearly any party in any campaign. It's a simple treasure hunt, but you can adapt it however you wish. The map is built around letting the party be creative and explore, search for treasure, and maybe encounter some 8-legged beasts. Included in the PDF are links to access high-resolution maps for VTT use. So yeah, it's got everything for you for free. Why wouldn't you want this? I guess if you don't have hard drive space, maybe that would be the only reason not to grab this. But it's got to be a small file, so I don't even think that would be the reason. So yeah, looking at this, you can see it's got looks like 12 different locations, points of interest on the map, and then here's the map, and it gives you a link to grab that from oneeyedwerebear.com. And I love their little logo. They've even got the werebear on their compass dial there, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, that looks like it looks like a fun map too. You got a water feature, you've got all kinds of, you got a cave in over here. Yeah, I think this could be really fun. So let's look at some of the rooms. It says every room has a DC assigned to all the saving and ability check rolls in it. Adjust as you wish. And it says, I encourage you to build and create your own final boss spider for the spider nest in place of the 2 giant spiders. But okay, it starts out with the drawing room. The party breaks through the rock to descend into the room from above. Room is barricaded with crates, and a statue above the fireplace will open a secret entrance to room 3. A water closet to the south has a single skeleton covered in ancient spider webs. A small creature can enter the tunnel below. And the loot is 5 gemstones worth 50 GP and a spell scroll to create bonfire. And on the skeleton is a vault key and a short sword. So yeah, you've got everything you need. It tells you, ways ins and out of the room, what the loot is in the room. So if your players want to search it for treasure, you know instantly what they're going to find. But it's also vague enough that if you want to tweak it and add some of your own campaign stuff in, you can. This could really take place anywhere. They're dropping down into it, so you could place this in an existing town. You could place it as a side dungeon in a mega dungeon. You could place it in wild space, in the middle of some sort of floating settlement. Anywhere. That's what I love about these, and I love that it's free. They've got at the end the spider's nest that you can tweak, but there's even an underground waterfall, a miner tunnel, vault, all kinds of stuff. So can't beat free. I think you should grab it. It's in the links below under dungeon number 1. Give it a click. All right, next we have Kobold Quest, Draught of the Dragon for 5th edition, $9.99 from Explorers Guild Publishing for 90 pages. Author Richard Davis says Kobold Quest Draught of the Dragon is a unique adventure where the party play as a group of kobolds and, through no small amount of cheating and backstabbing, become the greatest kobold champions to ever live. So it sounds really fun. It's got a crafting system, so you can craft traps with this. That's cool. 20 plus hours of gameplay, 8 new poisons, 17 new magical items, and over 10 new monster stat blocks. That's really cool. And there's even a little video on it. I love the artwork too. Look at this cool kobold sort of Mission Impossible-ing down into the horde of items. That's fun. So looking inside, you can see there's a preface, and then it breaks out into chapters, 8 different chapters for the adventure. So yeah, you could have quite a bit of fun. Just imagine a campaign as kobolds. I think your players would have a great time with that. And then of course the trap crafting stuff is in the end of it, and it looks like it was a Kickstarter at one point, which is awesome. I love when Kickstarters eventually make their way onto things like this, because you can't possibly keep up with every Kickstarter, right? So it's nice to have another chance to get some of the great stuff that comes through there. So preface, making and playing a kobold. The PCs in this venture must be kobolds. Official rules for making a kobold character can be found in one of 2 places. So it refers you to Volo's Guide to Monster, or Mordenkainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse. And then it also has rules for creating kobolds, so you can use those instead. New feats and new player options for those kobolds. So that's nice. You can use the official rules, or you can use this book to create them. And of course, it has to be new rules because this is OGL content. It's not on the DM's Guild. And then there's some feats like Battle Insight. It says, through countless encounters, you have developed a keen eye for the battlefield and can make snap decisions to help guide others. Increase your intelligence score by 1. You gain 2 superiority dice, which are D8s. A superiority die is expended when you use it. These dice may be used to grant allies bonus to hit or damage in combat. You regain all superiority dice when you finish a short or long rest. You cannot be put at disadvantage for perception checks when in combat. So that's a cool little feat. And then there's more. There's Desperate Prayer, Herbalist, Mortal Wound, Underhanded Tactics, etc. And then there's a background called the Sapper. And then there's the adventure summary. So let me read the adventure summary for you. But I like that there's this background as well. So much stuff in here, especially, since you're going to be playing as kobolds. But it's nice. I mean, these feats I could see used outside of playing as kobolds as well, and probably the background as well. Actually, let me just read a little bit about the background, what it is, so you can see if you can use it. It says, you are a sapper, a specialist in crafting and destroying bridges, roads, and tunnels, building and tearing down. You have become second nature, or building and tearing down these things have become second nature to you over the course of your life. So yeah, this doesn't have to be a kobold. So yeah, you can use the background outside of this as well. A fresh band of warriors are being selected from the rabble to become kobold champions, an elevated class that takes care of the most perilous and lucrative endeavors. The PCs are poised to become these carefully chosen few. After completing their trials to become champions, the group completes several important tasks for the survival of the colony. During these tasks, a group of scouts finds that a nearby gnome treasury is vulnerable for a limited time. The champions are tasked with finding out how best to pilfer the treasury and bring back its bounty to their settlement. After getting the treasure back, it is discovered that there is an immensely valuable artifact in the treasure, a scroll. When used as part of a potion, it will transform the drinker into a dragon. While this is a dream come true for any kobold, it is far too valuable for the gnomes to give up. They'll be coming. And it's up to the champions to plot a proper defense with a myriad of traps and tunnels until the potion can be completed. When the potion is complete, the PCs are able to transform and repel the attack on their colony. Alternatively, there's one kobold who may attempt to make peace with the gnomes and give back the scroll. The party can choose to go along with this plan and save potentially hundreds of lives. So nice. I like that there's player choice involved, and it's going to determine the direction of things. And that gnomes are going to be involved, and that there could be sort of a battle between the two. So you get to kind of see what it's like on the other side, because often kobolds are the enemy, and this is an opportunity to feel like maybe they can be the heroes, or that they are at least not, it's not all black and white where they're just evil, right? So fun stuff, exciting. I hope you go on a Kobold Quest by looking for Kobold Quest in the links below and giving it a click. Next, we have Level Up Dungeon Delver's Guide, and it's by Paul Hughes and Ian Publishing, $24.99 for 293 pages, 5th edition, but also advanced 5th edition. So Ian Publishing has previously released, and I think we covered some of their other releases for this system. And I purchased it. It's pretty cool. They've taken 5th edition and kind of upgraded it, made changes to it, removed some of the problematic stuff, added some new things, and just really refined it. So it's kind of a really cool thing. And I'm always happy to see new advanced 5th edition stuff on here. We don't always get to cover it because a lot of times that stuff doesn't have previews for us to read through on the show, but I do always like seeing it on here. And I hope you check it out. I mean, it's really important, especially now, to be exploring different ways to play D&D. And I like their take on how they've changed some things with the system. But it's still backwards compatible with 5th edition. So if you buy this, you'll be able to use it with regular 5th edition stuff too. But it says it's a comprehensive toolkit for running and exploring dungeons. This essential 300-page source book for use with 5th edition and Level Up Advanced 5th edition contains everything you need to create compelling and deadly mazes and lairs, and new player options for adventurers who want to venture below and return to the surface alive. It includes new character options, from rattling decomposer druids to doppelganger shadow stalker rogues, new gear, spells, and mounts to prepare your adventurers against subterranean threats, more than 100 clever traps, tricks, and puzzles that challenge players instead of punishing them, terrifying new monsters which populate the darkest corners of the world, how-to guides for building satisfying underground adventures, a dungeon building system to build unique thematic dungeons and lairs, pre-made dungeons for characters of any level ready to drop into an existing campaign, and a guide to the haunted cities and midnight seas of Underland, the weird realm beneath the earth. So much stuff packed into it. They also have a video you can watch if you click our link to come here and check it out. But yeah, I mean, this is everything you could want to get dungeons going in your campaign. So it's got all these heritages, which are like the equivalent of races. And so you've got Doppelganger, Motley, Mycelial, that's cool, Oozefolk, Ratling, and Rockborn. Then you've got cultures, the Carven, Faceless, Grimlock, Meld Member, Mischief Maker, Motley Crew, Sewer Rat, Sunless Mariner, Under Harvester, Underlander. And then backgrounds, you got Deep Hunter, Dungeon Robber, Escapee from Below, and Imposter, and then bunches of archetypes, including Arachnid Guardian for the Adept, the Sound Sculptor for the Bard, the Fate Woven for the Warlock, tons of equipment, spells, and then building the dungeon and stocking it all the way down to narrator's tools like magic items, bestiary, and then you got your appendices. So it talks about how to use some of these things for 5th edition. So again, this is for advanced 5th edition, level up, and then also regular 5th edition. So it's nice that they've got, if there's anything that's a little different, then they've got an appendix to cover that so that you can use it for either. So very well thought out. And then it gets into delve deep, wide dungeons, all that good stuff, and then exploring the dungeon, and a little bit about the doppelganger. So very cool stuff. Let me find a good bit to read for you. So it says, a dungeon is a perfect environment in which to tell a story. While it's quite possible to run a dungeon without a coherent narrative, a delve can give adventurers the opportunity to discover a mystery, struggle to solve it, and emerge triumphant with new lore learned and evils defeated. Where the campaign is a novel, a dungeon is a short story. So every element of a dungeon can be enlisted to help tell that story. Architecture, room contents, and even intelligent inhabitants can all have their say, revealing the dungeon's history as adventurers explore it. Lore earned by adventuring can be more satisfying than information gained all at once through a handout or a knowledge check. So it's so true. I mean, you could have just a basic generic dungeon with all kinds of stuff in it that has no connection to each other, or it could be a living, breathing dungeon with a history, with lots of lore, and this book is going to help you make that happen. So it just talks about the differences between level up and 5th edition. So if you want to try level up with this, you can. And then it gets down here into the heritages. So let's read a little bit about the doppelganger, which is one of the new heritages for advanced 5th edition level up, or race for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. So it says, with no facial features except pupilless white eyes and a slash of a mouth, doppelgangers strike onlookers as uncanny in their blankness. However, doppelgangers are rarely seen in their true form. Doppelgangers are shape changers who can adopt the appearance of humanoids of any heritage or gender. While most doppelgangers can't invent a new identity out of nothing, they can imitate an existing person's voice and features so well that few can tell the difference between a doppelganger and the person it mimics. What's more, doppelgangers possess a preternatural sense for what other people are thinking, an intuition that eventually develops into an ability to magically read the thoughts of other creatures. So it's really cool that this race, I think, has so much story potential to it, because you have to think about, okay, how did I come about the look that I have? Did I talk to somebody and learn, their mannerisms and their speaking voice and all of these things, and did I get their permission or did I not? And what are the consequences of that? Was it somebody I saw at a distance and they don't even know I copied them? I mean, there's all these questions, right, that I'm coming up with that you're going to have to answer as a player and work with your DM to kind of figure out how that's going to play out. It says, like all people, doppelgangers aren't inherently evil, but powerful temptations lead some astray. When circumstances forces them to imitate another's face, doppelgangers have the opportunity to slip into that person's life, gaining the benefits of their property and privilege. Once they have done so, they must flee to evade detection or eliminate the original and keep their life for themselves. Although some doppelgangers follow this path, others use a borrowed face to create a new self. Still, others become adventurers using their abilities to fight monsters and uncover dark secrets. Doppelgangers who resist the temptation to steal identities beasts possess a quiet heroism that few truly appreciate. So yeah, you have to make that decision. Did you steal somebody's identity? And what did you do? Did you take them out? Are they no more? Or are they still somewhere out there to where you can come face to face? And so all of these questions, I mean, imagine that as you're playing, that you come face to face. Maybe your party doesn't even know that you're a doppelganger initially. And so they come to face with the other you, and they're like, what are you doing here? And, so many opportunities, I think, with doppelgangers. So love that. Love seeing Level Up just keep putting out stuff. Ian Publishing keeps releasing stuff. There's other publishers releasing stuff for Level Up, but what's nice is it's compatible with 5th edition, so you're really getting it for 2 systems. And I just always think it's awesome. And the artwork, look at that gorgeous artwork. So gotta support it. It's in the links below under Level Up Dungeon Delver's Guide. Give it a click. Next, we have Monsters of Feyland 2, The Well of Dreams from Kobold Publishing, $14.95 for 156 pages, author Andrew Kobold. And, Kobold Publishing always does really great stuff. They've got some awesome books on the DM's Guild, some of the early greats of the DM's Guild, and they've been continuing to do these really awesome monster books here on DriveThru, and I always enjoy looking at them. And the artwork by Travis Hansen is really fun and playful. And so this one gives you 115 new monsters plus resources to run a Feyland campaign. And so Feyland just got stranger, it says, and it says here's their companion book. So there's Monsters of the Feyland 1. You don't have to have that to use this. You can use either one. And Feyland is really Kobold's analogous realm to the Feywild. So you can't use Feywild outside of DM's Guild content because it's one of Wizards of the Coast's IP. And so Feyland is what Kobold came up with to represent that. So they're interchangeable is what I want to say. Yes, they have a lot of details on Feyland in this book and others, so you can make it very distinct, but that could also be like a domain of delight within the Feywild. So these can blend together. So I don't want you to be put off by that or feel like you have to have part one. They all go together. So if you just need anything Fey, this book is going to work for you. But what's nice is if you don't have anything already for the Fae, there's the Well of Dreams in here, so that gives you sort of a place to anchor your stuff in this Feyland. So as the Well of Dreams has been corrupted and war has broken out between the Seelie and Unseelie courts, from the Never Dragon to the Dark Shroom, from the root of all evil to Cherry Bomb, your game will never be the same. So you get Feyland lore, maps of Feyland in all 7 regions, the War for Feyland, including detailed stats for opposing sides, the Well of Dreams, Fey bargains, contracts, and consequences, Game Master advice, adventure hooks, 117 new 5th edition monsters, Fey, dragons, aberrations, constructs, etc., 7 different Feyland regions, Everwoods, Sugarwind Mountains, the Great Tree, CRs range from 1-8 all the way up to 20. And then there's encounter and event tables as well. So again, this is a massive area. You get a whole map of the Feyland with 7 different regions. And the 5th edition stuff that's come out has not included the Unseelie and Seelie core. You've got Prismere in the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. You've got Dualis and our book Feywild Companion, but none of these books cover the lore from Earth, which is the Unseelie and Seelie courts, right? So you could take Feyland and make it like this big domain of delight and have it border these other places like Prismere and Dualis and just have massive Fey fun, right? Or you could just play with Feyland by itself or make Feyland a separate. Maybe your homebrew world doesn't have a Feywild; it has Feyland instead. So many options. I'm just trying to illustrate so many ways that this is great, because this could have been just a bestiary, right? But Kobold is giving you so much that for $14.95 to get all this, it's just amazing. And so you can see here's the original Monsters of Feyland cover, and then they've done Monsters of the City and Monsters of the Underworld. I've got a couple of them. I've got the rest on my wish list, so I gotta get back and get the rest of these at some point. But they're really fun. So let's look inside. So yeah, Return to Feyland. There's a little bit of info in the previous one as well on Feyland. It goes into the Fey courts, game master advice, and then it goes into the different regions. So the creatures are by the region. So you have Everwood, which is one of the regions of Feyland, and then all the creatures in Everwood, and then Sugarwind Mountains, same thing. And there's even one called a Wild Corgi, which I absolutely love. I think that's awesome. And then you've got Swamp Person, Witch Queen, Trick and Treat. So the Darklands looks like it's kind of like almost a Halloween themed one, which is cool. The Ivory Tower with the Bookworm and Thelonious Punk. So, and then at the end, there's a list by type and CR, and then some extra Fey bargains as well. So you can always use more of those as well. So I love that. This book just has so much and for such a great price. So yeah, I'm just scrolling through so you can see. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see. I mean, there's an awesome map of Feyland and all the different regions. Yeah, I mean, you could easily, and then there's adventure hooks. I mean, they've got you really covered with this book. Everything you want. Here's an Atami, Awakened Flower, Corrupted Brownie Queen, Corrupted Everflower, the Edgewalker, the Fawn, the General, Grim Halfling Scout, the Lunicorn. How cool is that? I love unicorn stuff. Just the artwork. Travis does such a great job. I just love looking at this stuff. All right. Can you guys release a book every week? It's just too fun looking through this. All right. Lunicorn. Deep inside Everwood, a beautiful light shines in the dark. The most powerful of all unicorns in Feyland lives here. A golden Lunicorn with a stunning rainbow horn helps guard the entrances to Feyland. Lunicorns are in the service of the Seelie Court and fight all forms of evil. Dark Fey usually retreat if they know these formidable unicorns are on their way. Several Lunicorns are based at the Great Tree, the home of the Seelie Court. They often accompany Queen Titania and serve as one of the many layers of protection surrounding her. Stoic Sentinels. With the war underway, many Lunicorns have been tasked with eliminating evil thresholders. The Dark Fae, who guard a number of portals, are being picked off one by one. Taking their places are Lunicorns, who decide who enters or leaves Feyland. So there's all sorts of adventure hooks built into this lore as well. That they're going to guard the entry to things. That there's this sort of battle with the thresholders. So Lunicorn is a CR10. And it's got different abilities, including teleportation and a golden shield. The Lunicorn creates a magical golden shield around itself, or another creature can see within 60 feet of it. The target gains a +2 bonus to AC until the end of Lunicorn's next turn. So yeah, fun stuff. I mean, it's hard to pick what to read because there's just so many cool creatures in here. And look at this map. I mean, just so cool. And then you've got the encounter tables. It says elf soldiers from the continent of Nairn, brownies and searching for their queen, Fey rangers searching ancient ruins, so much stuff. And then here's some adventure hooks. It says the heroes must find the Well of Dreams in the Ivory Tower. Several cloud castles have vanished from Feyland. I mean, yeah, look at this. So cool. All these different areas. And like how the Ivory Tower kind of looks like almost like a snow land within the Fey land as well. So fun stuff. And then here's it says the final war for Feyland has begun between the rival courts. The Seelie Court is based in the Great Tree near the center of Feyland, while the Unseelie Court is headquartered in the Darklands. So the Great Tree, that's where the Seelie Court is, and then the Unseelie is over here in the Darklands. Okay. And then it tells you what their forces are. So 1,000 summer fairies, 1,000 spring fairies, 800 fawns. So yeah, you could have large-scale battles with this list of forces. So again, as I've said, the 5th edition content that's been put out for the Feywild has not gone into Seelie and Unseelie, and a lot of people ask for that because that's what's known from the real world, right? So this Feyland stuff is really giving you what people are asking for in addition to what's out there. And imagine combining all that stuff together, how cool it would be to have the Seelie and Unseelie Court combined with some of the other products that are out there. So I just think this book is just giving it to you on every page. And for this price, it's a steal. You're getting so much stuff. So here is Corrupted Everflower. So let's read a little bit about that. So it says, Everflowers used to be members of the Seelie court, as they are followers of the archfey Orchid. However, when Orchid joined the rival court, the Everflowers joined her. Everflowers now live near the northern border of Feyland. They report what they find to the Unseelie court. Much of the time, the dancers put on performances in Everwood or Whimstown. However, these events are just cover for their covert activities. Many other Fey enjoy the Everflowers dances, and there are hundreds of loyal fans. Most of the rumors about the dances, questionable activities, are ignored. So it's a CR5, and it can make a cloud of bees, where it summons a swarm of insects that have, and then they can have them attack or use them to provide cover to maybe escape or whatever, hide what they're doing. And Martial Fury. As a bonus action, the Everflower can make one weapon attack. If it does so, attack rolls against it have advantage until the start of its next turn. But I mean, look at this art. There's even the bees in the artwork. So really beautiful. And it's nice how uniform the artwork is always in these Colwood books. You never feel like a piece of art is out of place, because it seems to be consistent from Travis throughout, which is awesome. So there's nothing bad I can find about this book. I think it's just great. I think it adds so much. It's really nice to think about the possibilities of combining this with other books or using it on its own. Again, even though it's a volume 2, that doesn't mean you have to have the first volume. And I think at $14.95 to get 156 pages and just really explore it and see what you think of it. And then maybe go back and get some more Colwood stuff, because all of it is really beautifully illustrated and just triggers inspiration in me when I look at it. And you can just have fun even browsing the artwork. I think it's well worth the price, and the possibilities are pretty much endless with it. So look for it in the links below under Monsters of Feyland 2 and give it a click. Next, we've got Tixa's Guide to Tritonids from Big Empty Blue. It says it's a setting compatible for Big Empty Blue, and it's from Pico Strix Press, and authors Marco Piana, Katerina Capograssi, Korzanth, and Ciaran. I cannot pronounce stuff. I'm sorry if I messed all that up. And it's for 5th edition, and it's a suggested price of $1.99. It says 1 page over here, but I'm pretty sure it's more than that, because in the previews it's even more than that. It says, ever dreamt of playing an axolotl in your 5th edition campaigns? Now you can. Tritonids are an amphibian species populating the ocean's world known as Big Blue. They are curious, agile, and great swimmers, of course. And then you get the full 5th edition rules. And so Big Empty Blue, it looks like, is a setting that is an ocean world. So you can use it with that, or you can put this wherever you would allow this race to exist in your 5th edition campaigns. So yeah, the artwork is just really beautiful, and I love the layout. It's really easy to read. So yeah, you can see it's already 4 pages here, so I'm not sure why it says 1. But hopefully Pico Strix Press is watching and can update that. And so I just don't want it to turn people away thinking it's only a page, because I can see it's a lot more than that, and it looks really fun. So, all right, let's read a little bit about it. It says, Tritonids are an amphibious race populating the shallow and deep waters of the ocean. Humanoid in form, their skin color varies from deep blue to yellow russet and dark purple. They possess a long and powerful tail, and their fingers and toes are webbed. The hair-like gills on their heads are remnants of their axolotl-like ancestors and can vary in shape and size from subrace to subrace. Thanks to their natural attunement with the powers of change, Tritonids are the most adaptable sapient species of the Big Blue, and the most populous as well. They seem to have a lifespan somehow similar to humans, albeit a bit shorter. They're water creatures. They can survive outside the water, but they are much more comfortable when water is nearby. In order for them to breathe on the surface, their skin must be as humid as possible. For this reason, Tritonids prefer to venture on land at night and camp in the shade during the day. Despite their careful approach to sunlight, Tritonids who deal with the surface species have developed a series of pieces of clothing that protect them during the day. Damp cloaks and cowls are a staple for daylight activities, as well as wet kelp robes and sea sponges. Sponges are regularly soaked in salt water to keep the skin humid. In case of excessive heat, Tritonids can gently squeeze specific sponges to dampen their clothes or specific body parts and avoid lethal skin burns. When in water, Tritonids tend to wear little clothing, draping themselves with nets and a minimum of cloth. Underwater, hunters and warriors are known for wearing armor crafted of bones and large sea shells augmented with shark leather. So yeah, they've got all this detail on this race, which is nice. A lot of times with the race, you get just like a couple paragraphs, and then here's the stats, right? It says Tritonids believe in 3 major gods, all mirroring the primary aspect of change. Zythia, the huntress, is the goddess of the hunt. 𝙤𝙘𝙬𝙧𝙬𝙀, I don't know, the deity of secrets, is the eldritch embodiment of death. And yeah, there's another one in there. 𝙤𝙗𝙗, the god of commerce. So fun stuff. I love that there's just so much detail, and I really enjoy looking at this artwork. I mean, I could read a whole book with this kind of level of artwork. It's really beautiful, and it looks like it's by Caterina Capagrossi, who's also one of the authors, it looks like. So very fun. Love that. Love the pictures. Love the text. Love that it's a suggested price, so you can really pay what you want and check it out and then come back and pay more. I do hope you pay something to support these creators. It's even more important these days. So check that out. It's under Tixa's Guide to Tritonids, or Tritonids, in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Warlock Lairs Into the Wilds, edited by Scott Gable, and it's for Kobold Press. And lots of authors, including Lou Anders, Celeste Konowich, and more. $14.99 for 5th edition, 180 pages. It says, the wilderness calls, the bugs gather in thick buzzing clouds, constantly biting. The leaves twist in the breeze, casting strange shadows. You almost stepped in some weird monster scat. Life is good. You're on an adventure. Brave the untamed wilderness, meeting new people and discovering strange creatures. Explore lands all but forgotten, from the blasted waste to the lush forest to the harsh northlands. Throw yourself into 18 wild adventures. So these are 14 wilderness-themed Warlock Lairs collected here with 4 brand new adventures. So ranging from 1st to 10th level, there's so much to discover. The opportunities for secrets and treasures are great, and so are the risks, but you wouldn't have it any other way. Explore the wilds either in the Midgard campaign setting or in worlds of your own creation. So, I mean, you just can't have enough adventures like this that are on hand, and what's so cool is they've got you covered from 1st to 10th level. So when you need something, you can just say, well, what level are we? And most tables stay in tier 1, tier 2. Let's be honest. Some creep into tier 3, and very few go all the way to tier 4. So having resources for 1 to 10 just sitting there, especially 1, because that's where you can start, right, is critical. And for $14.99, you're going to have these 4 brand new adventures and these 14 wilderness themed lairs, which I like. And Kobold always does such great work. I love looking at their books on this channel. They are definitely a leader in the independent third party space, which we have to support, especially now. So it says here, Warlock Lairs Into the Wilds brings you the hand-picked selections from their Warlock Lairs. For this collection, we've chosen a wilderness theme with a strong emphasis on the shenanigans of Fey and cultists. The focus is on tier 2 play, so adventures for 5th to 10th level characters, but with enough lower level adventures that those interested can create a mini campaign from this collection from 1st to 10th level. With 4 brand new adventures unique to this collection, we present you a total of 19 adventures for your game, spanning half of Midgard and featuring the Western Wastes. If you haven't checked out Midgard, it's one of Kobold's settings, and I absolutely love it. It's so great. They've got some really great books. So I hope you're following Kobold Press. You've gone to koboldpress.com or whatever their website is and looked at these books. They're also here on DriveThru, so you can search for them as well. But Midgard is particularly great. All right, so in the table of contents, they're going through the different adventures and things that are available, and you can see it'll say something like Terror and Altbosch here, and it gives you the author, and then it says for 5th level characters, a would-be protector has been kidnapping the town's children, hiding them away in the hills, fueling its own delusions. So yeah, right away, even in the table of contents, okay, 5th level characters. They're kidnapping the town's children. Going to have to deal with that and get these children back. So that could be a good story for your characters. I mean, what adventure party is going to resist helping children? Okay, you got for first level characters, the gateway leads to the 𝙬𝙑, a pocket dimension filled with undead and the fragmented memories of the cult of 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙤. I'm probably mispronouncing all this stuff, but it sounds good. Yeah, I love that. And 𝙬𝙑, a pocket dimension. So you're getting a pocket dimension, you've got undead, you've got fragmented memories, and for first level, that would be, I mean, that's, some first level adventures are pretty dull. They're pretty like basic. Oh, go into this dungeon and kill this, kobold. And it's like, okay, I get it. I poked with my sword, but going to a pocket dimension filled with undead and fragmented memories for your first adventure, I mean, that's cool. That's how I want to start and be introduced to the game, because already I'm going to see the fantastical possibilities. I got zombies coming at me. I've got pocket dimension. How do I even get back home? Lots of questions are going to come up. And then they've got Wrath of the Bramble King. For second level characters, the shadows stir up trouble, pitting the Bramble King against local villagers, all for the sake of a mysterious artifact. So yeah, you defeat this cult of 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙤, and then you return home, and it says the Bramble King is fighting this village. Can you help? You guys did so great at taking care of that whatever was going on with that gateway, and now we need your help with this Bramble King that's stirring up stuff, because we got to get this mysterious artifact. Whether they know about it or not, I don't know. I'm not reading the adventure, but you could see how you could weave these together, right? Or you could take another second level. They got the empty village. It says a strange shadow creature's theft of an entire village for the villagers' own safety leads to disaster. I love that. That sounds so. I haven't heard of that. Like a whole village disappears. And it sounds like the property and the people, and that it was for their own safety. That's the twist, right? The why. So they're really creative over at Kobold. I love what they get up to. And we're just reading a few of these. I mean, there's a bunch of them in here. Let's read one of the higher level ones. So the Shadow's Envy for 10th level characters. The Weft of Shadow is making its final move on the Summerlands, and the elves are in dire need of help. It says it continues with themes in some of the other ones here, so that's cool. So you have the Weft of Shadow making final move, so this is going to be a big final battle on the Summerlands, and the elves need your help, so it's not going to be an easy one. And you get to explore the Summerlands, presumably as part of this. So you're going to see a lot of the Midgard locations in here, which is awesome. Because as I said, Midgard's a really fun location. If you've already invested in it, this is just bonus. Need to grab this to just flesh out and give you even more options. I mean, if you're already playing in Midgard, this is going to be just a slam dunk. But if you're not, this could be a great way to dip your toe into it, and you can put it in other settings. I personally, I mean, the description of that first level adventures, I'm sold, because I want a new player to have such a fun time with that first level adventure that they want to come back. And sometimes you just don't have all the skills and powers at first level, that people skip first level. But if you can make what they're up to, what they're engaging with at first level as interesting as it was described here, I think you can draw them in and actually play the first level instead of skipping straight to third or whatever, right? So check it out. It's in the video description links under Warlock Lairs Into the Wilds, and give it a click. Well, that was our last new release for one of the sites. Before we move on to the second site, a few announcements for you. First of all, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave us a comment. All those things help us get the word out. More people find the videos and get to know about all these great releases if you can do that. And I'll respond to all comments personally. If you can click those links in the video description and support all these awesome creators that we featured this week, that really helps them. This business is tough, so you want to help encourage them to stay in it and creating these awesome titles for you to enjoy and bring to your table. And if you click any of those links and make a purchase, even if we didn't talk about it today, it's going to help support the channel through a small affiliate fee. So we really appreciate it when you do your shopping with us. That's awesome. And if you really want to take it to the next level, level to support us, you can purchase one of our books. You can go to splinterverse.com to read more about all of those, or click the links in the video description in the section we have on our books. And I'll just tell you about a few of them here now. So our latest one is the Dragonlance Companion. It's 180 pages for DMs and players to really get into Krynn. Everything from subclasses to races, including classic ones like Draconians and half-ogres and Thanoi, as well as 2 full-blown adventures, a tier 1 and a tier 2 that you can link together for a full campaign. We've got monsters, magic items, encounters, new types of items like legacy items, and even herald items that are connected to the gods, which we profile in massive detail so that you can use the piety system to really interact with the gods. So there's just so much to be found in there for Dragonlance and Krynn if you're into that, or if you want to take these things and put them in another setting, of course. And it's available in print as hardcover or digital, or you can get both for this combo price, where there's no extra charge for the digital. So that's always very cool. Then we've also got Swarms of the Multiverse, which is over 180 pages dedicated to brand new monsters that have some sort of connection to swarms, whether it's they form swarms, they summon swarms, or they control swarms. Each of the 70 new monsters in this book have some sort of connection, and we give them lots of space in the book. Each monster gets a minimum of 2 pages, so you get lots of lore, you get tactics, you get a playlist of the moves that they would use on their stat block. So if you want to quickly run it without reading too much, you can just go through the playlist. We've also got associated things like magic items that are connected to some of the creatures, demiplanes, full demiplanes that you can explore with some of these creatures as well. Then we've got rules for you to create your own swarms that are balanced for 5th edition, so that's really helpful. And then we have other types of swarms, like environmental swarms that don't even have hit points, but are more like hazards or puzzles that your party will have to pass through on their way to whatever the next adventure is. So tons and tons of stuff to really bring swarms to life and help you make a swarm out of any creature, whether it's third party or an official Wizards release. You'll be able to confidently make those swarms using those balanced rules. And again, it's print or digital. Then we've also got our platinum bestsellers here with the Feywild Companion, which is over 150 pages devoted to the Feywild, the plane where everything is Fey, and it's really a fun place to explore. It's a little bit different than the material plane, so you can have a really unique experience that kind of turns things on its head. And this fits well with Wild Beyond the Witchlight or any other Fey experience that you want to have. It's got player subclasses, one for each class that connects to the Fae. It's got magic items, races, lineages. It's even got trinkets, a new type of item called Flowers of the Feywild, which is a new consumable that helps you really feel like you've gone to a fantastical place. But these flowers can be used as a consumable item or like an environmental hazard, which is fun. We got a brand new Domain of Delight with a beautifully illustrated map in the same style as the one in Wild Beyond the Witchlight for Prismeer. We've got full adventures, encounters, monsters. I mean, it's just jam-packed. VTT tokens, all that stuff if you buy the digital, but it's also available in print as well. So you're going to want to check that out. Then there's also our other platinum bestseller, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets. It's devoted to dragons. It's meant to tie into Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, but it can be used on its own. So you've got dragon-themed subclasses, one for each class. You've got trinkets. You've got magic items, you've got horde magic items, draconic gifts. So those things that are in Fizban's, we're expanding and giving you more. So you have more draconic gifts and more horde magic items. You get a brand new familiar, adventure hooks to tie everything together from the DM point of view, so you can make those subclasses NPCs or whatever you want to do. So it's really, really good. It's going to be a hardcover soon. So by the time you watch this, it might already be a hardcover. So you can get the hardcover and or the digital as well. Then we've got our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages, which is devoted to the new concept of lineages that was introduced in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. And it's really fun. It makes your race basically something very personal to you, because lineages are something that is sort of thrust upon your character. It's not how you were born. It's an experience that you've gone through, and it's changed you. And so these are very conflict-driven lineages suitable for any setting, not just Ravenloft. Got 4 of those in there. And then we've got optional rules rules on how to string those together so you can go from one lineage to the next, or you can remove a lineage if there's some reason you want to go back to the original race, or just for story purposes you want to remove it. You have that option with this book. And then we've got Potions Unlocked, which is print or digital, and it's over 100 pages, and it's really devoted to taking potions, which are kind of a run-of-the-mill thing where you just say, oh, I'm going to take a healing potion, oh, I'm going to take a healing potion, and make them fun again. It's got optional rules for taste, smell, overdosing on these potions, how to craft the potions. Even with the 30 new potions in here with really cool artwork, we've gone and given you really in-depth origin stories for each of them that you can have a vendor relate to the players, or you can turn it into an encounter if you want to have the players be responsible for the creation of some of these potions. We even have potion-themed locations, including a potion shop with 2 different stories and a whole set of maps, so you can go to each of the layers of the potion shop, different vendors that are profiled with full inventory lists, a school where you can learn to craft potions and experience various encounters and adventures, and then we've got magical plants and things that you can craft, harvest and craft your potions with. So tons and tons of stuff. The whole point of the Potions Unlocked, or any of the unlocked titles that we're going to do, is to really take something and take it to its limit, give you everything you could ever want, to be the authority on that topic almost, and just really deep dive. Our Swarms book is the same thing. It's anything you could ever want on Swarms. So if you're getting these books, we feel like you're going to have everything you could ever ask for that topic, and that's our goal for you, because we really want the money to go as far as it can, because we do try to keep our prices reasonable, and then by giving you everything we can, we're helping you have that for far into the future. You're going to have the ability to have potions or swarms or whatever our topic is come to your aid at your table. So we hope you'll support us and check out all these awesome titles. Feel free to ask questions in the comments or anywhere if you're interested and unsure. I'm always here to help you. But no matter what, I hope you're clicking links, supporting creators, whether it's us or the others out there, because this is an awesome industry. We're so proud to be part of the TTRPG space, and we appreciate you. So now let's move on to the other site and their new releases. Our first DM's Guild title is 100 Goblin Tribes, part of the D100 series from D&D Speak. And it's $1 on a suggested price for 6 pages. It says goblins are a race of small and numerous goblinoids, often living in underground caverns near the surface known as Lairs. This list contains 100 different tribes and communities that these interesting creatures might be a part of. So yeah, you never know when you're going to run into a goblin and a player's going to ask, hey, what has this goblin been up to? Where does he live? What is his connections to the other goblins or whatever, right? So here gives you some goblin tribes, but then also you can have a player character that's playing a goblinoid race of some kind. So the first one is the bog creepers. These sneaky goblins tend to live deep in the swamp in great mud huts where it is difficult for others to reach them. They cover themselves in dark mud, lie in wait near roads that go through the swamp, and ambush unsuspecting victims. So yeah, you could build a whole story around that. You could see even player characters maybe coming from that region if you're playing some of the goblinoid races. I'll just read another one here. The Mutton Crew. They are known for raiding flocks and killing sheepdogs. Local shepherds have taken to traveling in groups and armoring yearling pups on journeys near the tribe's territory. So yeah, that could be a whole adventure hook. Maybe the shepherds are fed up and they want the party to get rid of these goblins or chase them out of the area or whatever. And then you've got the Blood Tribe uses blood magic and dark rituals to summon creatures to fight for them and to cast curses on their foes. So that could be a little bit of a different goblin experience. Instead of the norm, they're doing some magic and they're taking blood from corpses or fallen enemies and doing different things in the middle of the fight. So I like this. Great suggested price for it, and gives you lots of options, and it's just part of a series that gives you these kind of prompts so that you can use them either as background, adventure hooks, whatever you want to use them for, but I find them inspirational. So check it out. It's under 100 Goblin Tribes in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have the Book of Infinite Weapons. It says loot and item creation tables for generating over 8,000 unique and exciting magic weapons. And it's from William Nelson. It's $1.99 for 6 pages. It says designed to provide the largest variety of weapons possible with the simplest method of creation and the shortest set of instructions. The Book of Infinite Weapons tables and instructions only make up 3 full pages, but with those pages you will be able to generate over 8,000 different weapons. And you will learn to master the D12 plus D8 mechanic that allows for a mathematical range of increasing rarity of the items. The system is simple to operate because it's just tables and dice rolls, but it creates complex results by layering multiple dice rolls together to generate a single unique item. So yeah, I find that interesting. This becomes even more complex with the D12 plus 8 system. This method of weapon creation can be used to generate random treasure, stock magical shop inventories, or upgrade enemies. Base stats and values of each of the 20 weapon types are included, as well as the value multipliers for the different materials that can be upgraded or downgraded into. So interesting. I like that. And I mean, the price is pretty low, so you can experiment with this and see if it helps you create a weapon. So it goes into the naming of it first, then it goes into the materials, the weapon type, and the modifiers, as well as their effects, and then it talks about D12 plus D8 later. So first it says roll a D20 or a D12 and a D8 for the material and weapon type tables, and use the following naming scheme. Material, weapon type. You'll end up with something like dire adamantite dagger or silver quarterstaff. It says optional, you can roll a D20 for the modifier. If you want it to be extra powerful, you'll end up with something like this. Mithril inlaid adamantine or adamantite rapier of forgotten lore. Sounds like a lot, but it's easy. Document the stats, effects, weights as you go. So you can see, yeah, you could roll and get this right off the bat. So you've got the mithril inlaid adamantite rapier of forgotten lore right here with all of its stats. So if you need just a down and dirty, quick and easy way to pull these together, you can using this. And here's that D20 roll. So it shows you the number one material, or if you get a 20, is dire adamantite, but the number one, so your lowest roll, I guess, would be antique. So that still sounds good, right? You get the bonuses, and some of them can be useless in combat even, which is fine. You need items like that too. And then it tells you the weapon type table goes from sickle all the way up to spear, but there's crossbows in here as well. So there's some ranged weapons, as well as melee. And then your modifier gives you names like of tears unnumbered or of ultimate power, and then each of those has a corresponding effect. So if it's of nature awakening, it says 2 times per day you may choose to summon twig blights under your control. Summon up to 3 times your character level. Sacrifice 1d8 health points for each twig blight summoned. If you summon 10, you sacrifice 10d8 health points, for example. You cannot regain your health until every twig blight is destroyed. So yeah, that could be a fun thing to play out, and it fits with the name. So if you had a rapier, adamantite rapier of nature awakening, I mean, that would make sense why it's called of nature awakening. So one of the other ones is of the sacred sage. It says 2 times per day, gain plus 1d4 to wisdom rolls, duration 2 hours. So a number of effects, and we're only seeing part of the book here, of course, because you need to buy it to see everything. But yeah, I really like this. I think it's interesting. I definitely want to read about the D12 plus D8. I'm intrigued by that and how it changes things. So I'm going to add this to my wish list, and I hope you check it out too. It's in the links below. Book of Infinite Weapons. Give it a click. Next we have Dragonlance Kingfisher Festival Expanded. So there's a Kingfisher Festival as part of the adventure for the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen adventure put out by Wizards. And this is giving you opportunities to expand that. It says with the supplement, your players will be able to explore more of the town of Vogler, meet more characters, and bond more deeply with the town before its fall. So there's 6 brand new contests for your players to participate in. You can drink heavily and take part in the annual tavern run between Vogler's Inns, but beware of the obstacles that will be placed in your way. Another one is help a bard compose his masterpiece dedicated to a great fallen hero. And a third one is help an industrious gnome inventor test their gnome flinger and score points the greater distance you are shot. But then there's 3 more. I'm not going to read them all, but 6 different sort of mini games and experiences for you. And I want you to keep in mind that although this expands the Kingfisher Festival, I think it's always helpful to have mini games and things like this around, because you might need to kill time, you might need to fill some space, you might want to bring some just entertainment to what might be an otherwise boring part of an adventure in an urban setting, because you can have little side carnivals in an urban setting pretty much anywhere. Or the Witchlight carnival in Wild Beyond the Witchlight, you could add some of these to that. There's a lot of opportunities to use mini games. Even just a tournament might have some side games, or maybe somebody challenges somebody and you just have one of these show up as a challenge between an NPC and a player or something. So lots of reasons to have these on hand. But anyway, let's look inside. So you get to see 3 pages here, and it's got quite a bit of some of the experiences. So you've got the tavern run, and then you've also got the Ode to a Hero. So so it says, location: the Brass Crab. Taking the stage of this modest inn is a dwarf with a fiddle and a red cap. He begins to sing into a large metal horn. It magically amplifies his voice through the room, causing the windows to rattle and glasses to shake as he begins to perform. So it says the innkeep of the Brass Crab, 𝘽𝙤𝙘𝙧𝙀, has hired a traveling dwarf bard called 𝘎𝙤𝙀 Starsong. 𝘎𝙤𝙀 is an eccentric tone-deaf character who believes that volume trumps melody and plays as loudly as possible. He has a device called a reloud that works like a modern megaphone. He received it from a helpful gnome at Thornwall Keep called Than, who politely asked him to test it out and report back to him on its success. The only problem is he's experiencing artist block. Half his song is missing. 𝘎𝙤𝙀 will entreat the party for help. If the party needs more motivation to involve themselves, the tavern regulars will encourage them to aid him, just to get him off the stage as quickly as possible. So this is connecting you to 𝘽𝙤𝙀, who's already a character in Shadow of the Dragon Queen. So yeah, this is going to dovetail nicely and easily into that published adventure as well. And then it's got this whole song here, Ode to a Hero. I'm not going to read that, but it says something in the middle of the song. So that's where they're going to have to provide some rhyming lyrics. It says, if the party provides rhyming lyrics for the missing lines, 𝘎𝙤𝙀 will show his thanks by gifting them with a necklace adorned with a small carved harp, the symbol of Brancala, god of music. He may also request that they take a report of his song to Than at Thornwall Keep. He's heard the gnome may have other inventions to test. So yeah, these are great little teasers for future things. I mean, you could do something with this necklace connected to Brancala. You could do something with the Thornwall Keep stuff. So love that it sort of splinters out into other opportunities. And that was just one. Here's the tavern run. You can see that there's different obstacles that you have to deal with, including drunken revelers, traps, a wild horse, and something happens in a back alley here. It says, seeing the many obstacles on the road ahead, you know you can avoid them by taking the long way around. Make an athletics check to dash down an alternate route as fast as you can. So it's sort of like a race, and it talks about the different rounds for that. So I encourage you to come here and read more of this, and consider grabbing it. It's only $3.99, and sounds like it could really expand not only your Dragonlance book, but again, giving you these fun little encounters and activities that can be used for other things like the Witchlight Carnival or elsewhere. So check it out. It's under Dragonlance Kingfisher Festival Expanded in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Folklore of the Feywild by Greg Wright, and it is $5.99 for 43 pages. And it says, want a more vibrant experience with the Fey in your multiverse? Folklore of the Feywild combines real-world folklore from Northern Europe with the ever-expanding worlds of Dungeons & Dragons. drawing on 50 years of lore from the world, such as Toril, Eberron, and the Domains of Dread, as well as others. It says tables to help to randomly generate Feywild elven ideals, goblin bonds, hag flaws, and build fuller fairies, as well as find plot hooks related to fairy courts, even specific planes like Toril, Eberron, and beyond. So you get 23 new stat blocks for monsters ranging from Trickster Puka and Kelpies to established creatures like Swan Maze and Glora, including 3 members of the Wild Hunt. And then you've got tables for generating Feywild elves, goblins, hags, and fairies. Advice on how to add Fey adventures to any game world, and tables to generate plots and portals for player characters of all types. Guidance on adding fairies to the worlds of the multiverse, like Toril, Eberron, etc. 2 new magic items for anyone who loves shapeshifting or saving the helpless. And, of course, art from depicting the folklore from around Northern Europe. As you can see some of the spreads here. It looks cool. All right, let's look inside. So you get all these different denizens of the Feywild, so you're going to get backgrounds. I really think it's cool that they've included ways to flesh out some of these things like fairies and hags, etc., because you have a lot of material in the official books on some of these creatures, but not enough to make them distinct. It's more of like generic introductory material. It's helpful, but it's not enough to make them individualized. So I think these tables are going to be super helpful. And then the fairy courts, I've mentioned this before. A lot of people want that, and it hasn't been provided by Wizards officially, or many of the supplements that have come out on DM's Guild. So having court information is great. And then you've got the connecting to these other worlds in the multiverse. Toril, Eberron, etc. And then, of course, places like the Shadowfell as well. And then you got your bestiary with some interesting creatures, including a song dragon. That sounds fun. So let's scroll through and find some stuff to read for you. But here's some fairy personality traits. So we'll look at those in just a second. But I just want to scroll real fast just to give you a cool look at the how it looks. It's got a nice layout, easy to read. Lots of good use of white space. So there's even hooks in here. I like that. So let's just go through the fairy stuff so we can really figure out what a fairy would be. Let's just assume we're rolling a 1 on all of these tables and kind of see what kind of fairy we create. So the fairy personality traits says, I have a penchant for speaking in rhyme and can't help but do it all the time. And I appreciate that the author made that one rhyme as well. And then it says fairy ideals, service, I serve at the pleasure of those to whom I am loyal. So, okay, so it's a loyal rhyming fairy. And then you've got fairy hooks. A fey crossing has closed in the material plane, and the fairy seeks to find a new way home before they miss out on a family reunion. So you could totally see that. You come up with some rhymes for this fairy to describe, hey, there's this, I got to get home to the family, and otherwise, I'm going to miss out, and this reunion happens once every 100 years or whatever it is, right? And then you say, if you help me, I'll be loyal to you, and all of that stuff, and really weave in that personality. So you see how these 3 tables have already given us kind of a character that's different than just the run-of-the-mill fairy, right? And then they've got other stuff in here. So Feywild elven traits. So, this could be even probably for an Eladrin. So yeah, good options. I knew I'd love these tables. And then you got the goblins, and then the Feywild goblin traits, hags, and then the fairy court information. So let's do the same thing with the hags, because that was fun. Let's zoom in here. So I have notoriously bad eyesight, or pretend I do, to give the impression of weakness to others. Contemptuous, I hold contempt for almost everything around me and have no problem showing it. So this one's going to be a grumpy hag. She's can't see or pretends to not see, and then she pretty much hates everything. It says a sprite has stolen the eye of a coven of green hags who threaten to destroy everything in an enchanted forest until they get it back. So, that works perfect with the one that we picked, because there's, she struggles to see. So this eye of the coven might be how she sees. So really could see how that could make sense. And again, we're just picking one, the first one from each of these tables. You would roll your d8s and come up with whatever combo, or pick as well. You can always pick from tables. So I love this. I think it's given you lots of options, even outside of the Feywild stuff, because you could use hags outside of the Feywild as well. So we'll just read a little bit about the courts, and then I will leave the rest for you to explore, but I think this has a lot to offer. It says, the fairy courts, each domain of delight is ruled by an archfey, a powerful and unique being whose realm manifests as part of their personality, their fears, and their quirks. These domains can range in size from but a single lot of land to seemingly endless tracts, and each domain has a unique political situation. Yet, like the material plane, realms often deal with one another, and this leads to political intrigue and hijinks. Enter the court system. Courts of the Feywild are an alliance of network domains and their denizens working together for shared values and purpose. The two most prominent are the Seelie and Unseelie courts, sometimes called the Summer and Gloaming courts. While these are often framed in terms of good and evil, this is a mere mortal misinformation. The summer sun can be as cruel as a winter frost. Neither Seelie or Unseelie has a single claim to good or evil, though. Titania is herself good-natured, and the queen of air and darkness often cold to others. Other archfey remain unaffiliated to the court system, but it has plenty of benefits to make it worthwhile. So, great. So, in the 5th edition, they've established this concept of domains of delight, centered on an archfey with Prismeer, and this incorporates the real world lore of Seelie and Unseelie courts into all of that, by saying it's sort of a way of the different domains interacting with each other and enforcing things, and having sort of political intrigue and diplomacy and all of that going on, which makes sense. There's all these bargains and, loyalty and all this stuff happening. So I could see where you could use this to really weave in some of the traditional courts. There are lots of fans of Fey courts and Fey folklore. And so this book, I think, is going to give you that real world goodness, as well as at what we looked at with those personalities and things for sort of commonly encountered things, fairies, goblins, hags, etc., bringing those to life. So there's a lot here, and it's only $5.99 for 43 pages. So that's a good chunk of material for that price. So check it out. It's in the links below under Folklore of the Feywild. Give it a click. Next, we have The Island Generator by John Paget, $3.95 for 10 pages. It says, it's designed for you to stir your creativity. Create your own islands quickly and without stress with this set of tables. How deep you go depends on if you want some extra steer or if you're happier going freestyle. This is your island playground, so play and have fun. So again, I'll say, with reference tables, unless you're in a literal situation where you're playing live right now and you feel like you have to stick with the die roll, you can also just pick from tables or read through the whole table and let your imagination run wild. So 3 different ways: picking, rolling, inspiring. So keep that in mind, because I think sometimes people see tables and they go, oh, I don't want to be stuck to a roll or whatever, but it's not like that. There's 3 different ways to engage tables. So talks about, it gives you what kind of island it is under category, reputation, is it well known or a complete mystery, what the population is, the size of it, the creature types there, the magic, how wild and magical is that island, secrets of the island, threats there, and then quests for the island. So again, this is meant to generate stuff for you. So it goes through the different tables. So first thing you would roll is your category. So we'll just go through and again pick some very first entry as though we'd rolled a 1 or 2 or 1 to 5, whatever the range is on that first entry, so that we can get some idea. Actually, you know what? I'll do the first entry on the one table, then the next table I'll do the topmost entry, so the 20, etc. So you can get a mixture of the low and high end, because it looks like these tables are structured accordingly. So you get like minus roll bonuses and stuff on the bottom end and improved ones on the top. So it says this island is abandoned by ancient beings, And that's just the first one that we chose. And it says magic roll bonus -15, and then population roll bonus +2. So when you roll on those subsequent tables, you have to subtract these things from your result if you're sticking to rolling, right? It says reputation. So for this one, we're gonna pick the topmost, which is famous. So it's famous, and which makes sense because it's been abandoned by ancient beings. So there's probably legends of those ancient beings. And then, so here's more on the abandoned by ancient ones. So that's the first one we pick. So we get all these details. So it says, this was once a special place used by a culture that has ceased to exist. What was it used for, and why was it abandoned? These tables below can help shed some light on it. So its ancient purpose was a planar portal used to travel. That's just the first option. There's 6 here. There's magical crystal shards there. There's elves, and the society or complex imploded is sort of what, if we pick the first entry. But again, there's a lot more to it. And then over here it says other creature types. So it could be, Kuatoa, Aasimar, Naga, beings from a faraway plane like beholders, cloakers, etc., Aboleth. And then it says the island is teeming with life and would surely contain even more inhabitants if it was better known. But what is the reason behind its abundance? So number 1 could be volcanic activity, keeps the ground fertile, all the way up to number 10. The island is home to a group of animals or creatures who have been mutated by mysterious radiation, leading to the development of unique and exotic species. And then additional features like a conical mountain or air that can affect the bodies and minds of any creature. And additional creature type. I mean, these really, there's so much in here to sort of percolate and create an island. You've got additional tables with creature types. So you could have gulls, woodpeckers, and owls. You can have snakes for hair and a gaze that turns things to stone with the gorgons. You've got creature mutation, the ability to teleport themselves and 5 others up to 1,000 feet once per day. So whole table of mutations. You could use this even outside of islands, right? You could have creature mutation, 20 options outside of islands. Deserted paradise. I mean, there's just so much in here. I mean, look at this. Magically unstable. So any magic used has a 1/4 chance of backfiring. So 25% chance, basically. Spontaneous combustion. The caster and any creatures within 5 feet take 8d10 fire damage. So lots of uses outside of creating an island, but I love how detailed, and we're only 5 pages in. This book is 10, so you're going to get a lot more tables that we haven't even touched. I really like this. I think it inspires a lot of stuff. Could really flesh out an island or other things quickly. Yeah, I could see the creature types, the mutations, the magic instability. These could go outside of an island. You've got even some of the purposes could be, applied to a dungeon or other things. So, but I mean, it's great to populate islands as well. And I love this. Really good stuff from John as usual. So check it out under Island Creator in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have the Karmic Inquisitor. It's a class from Rachel Sartell. It's $1.99 for 11 pages. And it says that Karmic Inquisitor has 3 subclasses centered around either promoting good karma, healing, and support, or bad karma, which is damage, or the balance of both. It should have a fluid playstyle with solid action economy, focusing on single target healing or damage using your karmic mark. So, listing of the subclasses and then the attributes. So there's the riser, which is the good karma, the deficiter, the bad karma, and the contrador, the balance of karma. So it says, we are born impure. Flecks of karmic dust attach on our souls. Through effort, you can purify it, make it clean, balance the world. You can also revel in the chaos of the impurities and drag the world down around you. So you're going to be playing with sort of karmic debt here as this Inquisitor. So it shows the features you get and gives you sort of a quick build. And then you get right into some of the abilities. So it says you are able to earn favor and debt with your karmic mark ability. You maintain your level of favor and debt so long as your karmic mark is up. You lose your karmic mark. If you lose your karmic mark for any reason, your favor and debt count resets down to 0 and you start over. There are some abilities that cost favor or debt, while others are usable so long as you have the minimum required favor or debt count and does not expend the resource itself. There's a maximum cap of favor and debt for 10 total, meaning you may hold 10 total karma split between favor and debt. So I like that. It's kind of like a split resource, and it can go up or down. And it shows you how you gain debt. So successfully hit a marked enemy with an attack, land a critical hit on a marked enemy with an attack, etc. Land the killing blow, and then favor, heal an injured marked ally, stabilize or heal an unconscious marked ally. So yeah, doing good things, you're getting favor. Doing bad things, you're getting debt. But you need both of those things to use your karma. It says also first level, you begin to see the karmic dust as it settles in the world and are starting to understand how to shift your whims. So it says, as an attack, send a bolt of negative energy to a target you can see within 60 feet. Make a ranged spell attack against the target using your wisdom modifier. On a hit, the target takes necrotic damage. You do not gain debt with this attack. This can be used in place of a single one of your attacks from extra attack, and then increases the damage as you level. And then you can heal yourself or others also at first level using positive karmic dust. So very flexible. You can do damage or heal. And then it shows the balance path and how to calculate your Karmic Inquisitor save DC. And it says you unlock additional abilities, and these can be found after the subclass details for level 2. And then at third level, you can enforce your own will on the karmic energy around you. Use a bonus action to spend a number of hit die up to your proficiency bonus. You gain karma equal to the number of hit die spent, which can be either favor or debt or a mix of both. You must have an active karmic mark to hold this favor or debt. And then you get ability score improvement and various other things. But at 20th level, you have mastered the subtleties of karmic law. You see how to influence and shift the balance of karma in the way that suits your needs. As an action, stop the dust movement entirely and take 1d4 plus 1 turns in a row, during which you can use actions and move as normal. This ability ends if one of the actions you use during the period or any effects that you create during this period affects a creature other than you, or an object being worn or carried by someone other than you. So you can, use that to get away or do some other things, a couple things in a row, as long as you're not affecting others. And then we've got a look at a couple of the subclasses. So you've got the Riser, and this is the one focusing on doing good things. So let's look at its highest level ability. At 18th level, if you start your turn with no favor, you immediately gain +1 favor. In addition, if under 50% of your maximum hit points, you passively heal at the start of your turn for the amount equal to your favor, so long as you are conscious. So that's helpful. You're starting to just automatically heal. And then the Deficitor is the one that's doing damage and kind of being bad with karma. It says at 18th level, as an action, you can consume up to 5 debt, vanishing into a wisp of black dust. Choose a number of creatures up to the debt spent that you can see within 30 feet. Make a melee attack against each target. On a hit, a target takes a number of d10 damage equal to the debt spent. You can then teleport to an unoccupied space you can see within 5 feet of one of the targets you selected. So, yeah, you get some mobility and ability to do some damage. Fun stuff. I think it's interesting. I mean, karma is a real-world concept. It's interesting to see it explored here, and you've got this notion of karmic dust that's sort of floating around, and the artwork here kind of illustrates that. So I think it could be a fun class to experiment with, and it's only $1.99 to try it out. So look for it in the links below under Karmic Inquisitor and give it a click. Next, we have Look, a Tavern, a detailed description of taverns and what is behind them from Peter Kuna. It's a $1.99 suggested price for 16 pages. So it's 6 taverns with patrons, employees, and their stories ready for your game. From the ugliest stomach-clenching pub to the highest level vintage restaurant, you will receive some ideas when the party walks into a tavern. So you can just never have enough taverns. You never know when you're going to need to plop one in the middle of wilderness, to kind of give your party a rest and ability to recuperate and get things reorganized. You might need multiple ones in an urban setting, even if you have one established. I mean, something could happen between the NPCs there and the party to where they're unwelcome, and now you need another tavern. So I love books that detail taverns because you just can never have enough taverns and inns on hand. So it looks like there's 6 of them here, and they go into locations, characteristics, the staff, the business environment, brick breaker Bart's menus, so the menus for each of them, regular patrons, events and occasion services, and other. This looks a little different because we're using the publisher preview, so those pop out in their own page like this. So let's zoom in here and look at these. So you get the detail, locations, characteristics, staff, and here's the map. Super helpful map. That's really good. I mean, you could use that for a tavern of your own creation as well. Then you got the environment, the menu, patrons that are there, events and occasions, services, and others. So you're basically getting to see the first of the 6, but it's really cool. It says Brickbaker Bart's is a small inn nestled deep inside the busy outskirts of a large city. It's famous for its owner, who won it in a bet, being able to break an actual brick with their fist. The former owner clearly did not believe this was possible, but they honored the handshake and gave the inn away as a prize. The place took on its new name and has operated that way ever since. So it talks about the area, suburbs, but again, you can place these wherever you want. So then you've got Bart Marin Ilva, strongly built, determined looking tall figure with an endearing smile on their face. He won the inn on a bet, so he's the guy who it's named after. And then you've got Bylan Marin Ilvis, pale, a dark-haired and frail figure with a deep appreciation to her brother's accomplishments. So they move nearly unnoticeably, and their job is to take care of cleaning and serving the tables. Bylan is not very talkative. Their dream is to take over the inn once from Bart. So eventually Bart will move along, and they will take Bart's place, hopefully. And then it just talks about the business environment. Bart runs a profitable business. There aren't many inns and other establishments nearby. The staff is respected and respects each other on the surface. And there's more details. I'm just kind of hitting the highlights. The inn is open starting sundown and usually closes at midnight. Then you got the menu. So they serve ale, something stronger, spiced roast, fermented pickles, bread and fat, Bylan's pie. And then it gives you even the room price. Then you got your regular patrons. It says Denise Vander, an unusual sight, a woman in her 40s, smelling lightly of perfume and spending most every evening in the inn. She wears gray usually and likes to talk to workers who come by for a drink. She inherited a small fortune from her passed away husband and seems to be ready to start a relationship again, looking for a hardworking, honest man. She tries her luck regularly at Bart's. Will she succeed in finding new love? So you could even have like a romance with one of the PCs or between 2 NPCs with a character like that. Then there's the birthday of Bart and Bylan. And then aside from the rooms available in the toilets, you may request a wake-up call and breakfast. There's table service, and then there's even a bulletin board with, potentially adventure hooks on it waiting on there for, notice board of things that the adventurers could get up to. So lots of details. Love the menus, love the maps, love the NPCs, because you can pull these things out and use them separately, right? It's nice that they're all packaged together, but remember, reusability is key when looking for books to purchase. So this has a lot of reusability because you can pull out these characters, you can pull out the maps. All these things can be used independently. Even the menu, you can just, not say the name and read off, oh, well, there's a pie for 5 copper. Right, instead of Bylan's pie or whatever. So fun stuff. Very useful. Should have it on hand, and it's a suggested price of $1.99. So cool stuff. Look a tavern in the video description links and give it a click. Next, we have Sasha's Supplements Feats Volume 1 from Sasha Dimonova. It's $2.99 for 6 pages. 30 new feats are provided in this supplement, including 8 teamwork feats, which are feats that only function when more than one character has the feat. So really cool to have new feats, especially ones that are different like that, where they're teamwork ones. So we're going to look inside here. You get to see a good chunk of the feats because there's 30 of them, and there's at least, looks like about 10 of them here in the preview, so that's nice. First one is Setup Artist. You are adept at setting your allies up for success, granting you the following benefits: increase your strength, dex, or con by 1. When you score a critical hit against a creature, you can choose to forgo the effect of the critical hit, and as a reaction, grant a critical hit to the next ally who hits the creature with a melee attack before the start of your next turn. Your attack only deals normal damage. So, very cool to have options to play with when you have a critical hit. And then let's find another one to read. So let's see. Circling Footwork. You've learned to intimidate your opponent by circling them as you attack. So increase your int, whiz, or charisma by 1. And when you take the attack action against an opponent, you may choose to use this feat to move between your attacks. This movement provokes attacks of opportunity unless you make a successful acrobatics check with a DC equal to your opponent's AC. If an attack hits and you move at least 5 feet, your next attack has advantage. If the opponent takes damage from at least 2 attacks while using this perk, it must make a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you until the beginning of your next turn. The DC is the save of this save is equal to 8 plus your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus. You may still move between attacks as normal without provoking attacks of opportunity, but you do not gain the benefits of this feat if you do so. So yeah, fun stuff. One last one for you. Uncanny reactions. Your instincts allow you to subconsciously react to more during combat, granting you the following benefits. So you get a ability score increase of 1. You may decide to make an attack of opportunity without spending your reaction. After you have used this feat a number of times equal to your dex modifier, you may not use it again until you finish a short or long rest. So giving you all kinds of interesting combinations with these. And what I love, and we didn't really see them in this preview, but they're in this book, is that there's teamwork feats, which gives you the option to, work with your party to both of you take a certain feat, and then you get those bonuses because you both have the feat, because you do need, with those teamwork ones, 2 people to have it. But there's 30 in here for only $2.99, so I think that's a good deal. So check it out. It's in the video description links under Sasha's supplements. Give it a click. Next we have Stokes Irregulars, an Eberron adventure on the Day of Mourning from Jason Mead. It's a suggested price of $9.99 for 29 pages. And it says the events of the Day of Mourning are defining for the history and politics of Eberron. The adventure aims to confront a group of adventurers directly with the catastrophe in 𝘙re and throw them right into the action. The adventure is designed for a group of 3 to 5 individuals who are traveling in 𝘙re at the end of the last war with a small militia and become involved in conflicts with various powers. It is to be understood as a kind of prologue or prelude to a larger campaign that follows the adventure. At the end of the adventure, the party will find themselves in New 𝘙re, from where they can travel through post-war Corvair. So, yeah, sounds fun. I mean, a lot of people love Eberron. There's some great books to support that setting from Keith Baker and others. And you can see a fun little map here with a broken bridge, it looks like, but then there's this log to get over the water there. So that looks like it could be a fun little map to use. But inside there's other maps too, like of these areas that's showing you, 𝘙re and Dargun and other things going on. So yeah, that looks really cool. Got introduction, location, background, plot hooks, and talks about the militia and then starting the adventure. And then you even have a recruit stat block of 1/8, so that you can have that on hand to quickly deal with somebody from the military as well being there. So let's look at a couple of the plot hooks. It says Dragon Marks. Logan might be a member of one of the Dragon Mark houses. If a player is Dragon Mark, their house might send them on a mission to support Logan for the glory of the house. So Logan is one of the characters in here. Let's see if we can find a little bit about Logan. It's not popping out here, but I'm sure it's in here somewhere. Members of the press, they are sent to write a report about the accomplishments of the group and to interview the heroes for a local newspaper, or just pretend to because they actually work for a foreign power. So yeah, that could work. As a plot hook, you got fighters, healers, and scouts. The company needs capable volunteers in their ranks and might be willing to pay extra for experienced guards that protect their leader. So yeah, you got those are just 3 out of the 5 options to get them into this militia. It says the equipment of the Syrian militia is especially bad, but they will give each player in the party a little something to defend themselves with. Every melee fighter will get a rusty sword. Every ranged combatant will be given an old spear that can be thrown if necessary. And whoever is able to use some magic can get the Pride of the Militia's equipment, a magical staff of combustion, mass-produced by House Cannith Factory in Northern Seer. So, and then you get all the details on those. And it says, if you cast at least one spell as an action with this staff of combustion, you can form a small bolt of fire that can burn an enemy creature that is no more than 40 feet away. Roll a d20 on a 7 or lower, and the staff loses all of its magic and becomes a mundane wooden staff that does 1d4 bludgeoning damage. On an 8 or higher, roll a ranged spell attack. On a hit, the target suffers 1d6 fire damage from that bolt. So that's fun. Little magic item. It says the group appears in the militia, a small camp in an abandoned manor north of Deperthane. The militia consists of about 40 motley individuals. The mood in general is nervous but composed. A strange smell is in the air. The party can overhear various conversations and snippets of words. So then you get to kind of pick up on things. But it says the militia is led by a grizzled old blacksmith named Logan. So that makes sense. Okay, so it's the blacksmith that leads the militia, who had served in the Syrian military in his younger days. Despite his advanced age, he was still a formidable fighter, and he is feared by those who serve under him. Logan is driven by a single-minded desire for victory, and he is willing to do whatever it takes to achieve it. He has little regard for the lives of his soldiers, and he's not above using whatever means necessary to get the job done. His men follow him out of fear rather than loyalty, and they are careful to stay on his good side. Those who cross him often end up regretting it, as Logan is quick to dispense punishment to those who displease him. So, despite his harsh tactics and his lack of concern for his men, Logan has been able to lead the militia to a number of impressive victories. So, that's going to be an interesting character, because it's probably going to conflict with the party's desires at times, especially if they see him sort of being cavalier about the lives of his militia members. So, interesting. And I love, again, that there's this little stat block to use for anybody in the militia if you need it. Fun stuff, little items, little maps, and we're just scratching the surface, because there's 29 pages and that preview had only 7. So not even a third of the book did we look at, and it looked pretty fun. And I like this map down here too. So I think if you want to try something involving a militia, especially if you want to do it in Eberron, at a suggested price, I think this is a great option for you. So look for it in the links below under Stokes Irregulars and give it a click. Next, we have Venom in the Veins by Carl Terrence Vandal, $4 for the 16 pages, and it's for Forgotten Realms. And it says it enables characters to access their ancient 𝘽𝙤 ancestry as they grow. So you get a brief history of 𝘽𝙤 and the Forgotten Realms, an outline of the different types of 𝘽𝙤, and then you get a unique background, the blood of the Ophidian, as well as a monk subclass, the Way of the Serpent, and mechanics to allow any character class to be able to access 𝘽𝙤 abilities as they grow in level. And then there's an encounter called Why Did It Have to Be Snakes, and 2 unique NPCs that have Ophidian blood in them. So fun stuff. And Carl always does such a great job with the Forgotten Realms lore, and you can see all this stuff to bring in the Ophidian and 𝘽𝙤 stuff. So if you want to have a character sort of slowly getting more and more 𝘽𝙤 into them as they go, this could be a good option. So yeah, it gives you all this stuff about Toril and 𝘽𝙤 there. So tons and tons of lore. And then you get into the Ophidian blood, which is, it looks like a background. Yeah, it's got a feature, got those little personality trait tables. So your feature with this is individuals gifted with Ophidian blood can do amazing things dependent upon their skill, talent, and their ability to harness their Ophidian bloodline. In general, Ophidian blood can be more resilient, quicker, and more agile, more resistant to injury, and have sharper senses. Some Ophidian blood have been reported to have an enhanced empathic abilities, while others have been rumored to be able to transform themselves into a hybrid serpent form. All Ophidian blood share the following traits. Bite. Every Ophidian blood has a set of fangs with which they can deliver a venom through biting a target. It counts as a melee attack weapon, and it has a range of 5 feet. and it deals 1d4 plus strength bonus piercing damage on a successful hit, plus 1d6 poison damage. And then there's heightened senses. The Ophidian blood has certain sharper senses, more than most beings. As a result, they gain advantage on perception checks that rely on taste or smell. And then you get all your characteristics as well. But then there's also these Ophidian blood abilities. As an Ophidian blood gains in skill, their ability to harness the strength of their serpentine bloodline enables them to perform even greater deeds. Whenever a character is given the opportunity for an ability score improvement, instead of selecting an ability score improvement or a feat, they can elect to take an Ophidian blood ability. Some Ophidian blood abilities can only be taken at specific levels. So you've got Gaze of the Ophidian, which is 4th level. Your 𝘽𝙤𝙘𝙀 ancestry has granted you the ability to mesmerize others with your eyes. This enables you to target one creature you can see within 30 feet of you using a bonus action. If the target can see you, the target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed until the end of your next turn. The charmed target is stunned. If the target's saving throw is successful, the target is immune to your gaze for the next 24 hours. So yeah, you can charm a target, which is always cool. And then we'll move ahead and look at one of the more higher level abilities. So let's see. At 19th level, you get Form of the Ophidian. If you pick this, your 𝘽𝙤𝙘𝙀 ancestry has been granted you the ability to transform into a hybrid humanoid snake form. As a bonus action, you can transform into your hybrid form for up to 1 hour. You can speak, use equipment, and wear armor in this form. You can revert to your normal form earlier. As a bonus action, you automatically revert to your normal form if you fall unconscious, drop to 0 hit points, or die. Once you use this feature, you must finish a short or long rest before you can use it again. While in hybrid form, you gain the following abilities. Ophidian Might, you gain a +2 to melee damage rolls. You also have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. Ophidian Skin, if you do not already have it, you gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. While you are not wearing heavy armor, you gain a +1 bonus to your AC. Ophidian Bite, you gain fangs with which you can bite opponents, and it gives you the whole stats on that. And then Ophidian Presence, if you do not already have it, you gain 8th level Ophidian ability while in hybrid form. And so it's just really giving you the feeling like you're becoming almost like a 𝘽𝙤𝙘𝙀. And that could be so much fun. And then you got the Way of the Serpent in here for monks. I mean, you can see the whole book in this preview, so you should come here and read through all this. You can see a CR5 stat block for this encounter, and another a CR7 for it as well. Because the lore is always good. There's tons of abilities in here that you can use. I mean, you can take some of these Ophidian blood abilities and use them for NPCs, or use them for just some sort of bad character. They don't have to be for players as well. I mean, or they can be both. But having that big list of different abilities that can happen related to 𝘽𝙤𝙀 is cool, because you could have a whole 𝘽𝙤𝙀 themed campaign. So fun stuff. And you're going to just enjoy, I think, reading this lore even, because as I said, Carl is just a real good resource for lore on Forgotten Realms. And the books from Carl always include just a healthy, generous amount of those, which is fun. Just you'll be able to sit back and read almost like a story. So really cool. Hope you check it out. It's called Venom in the Veins. It's in the video description links below. Give it a click. Now it's time for a sneak peek of our discount for next week. It's going to be on an adventure called Crimson Snow, where you uncover the secrets that lie beneath the ice and stone from Johnny Cordova. It's normally $4.99, but we're going to have a good discount for you on it. And it says, after a glowing meteor fell into the frozen tundra, a scout team was quickly assembled to learn from the cosmic stone. Weeks later, the adventurers are hired to aid the scouts because they have gone silent. The members of the outpost are very ill, and their leader has gone missing under the ice while investigating the meteor. Along with the ill scouts, an interesting family of 3 with long white hair and pale skin arrive to assist them. One of the members of this family is plagued by visions after coming into contact with the meteor, screaming throughout the night and day. So it's a really interesting adventure. for a group of 3 to 5 characters of around level 10 to 13. And we're going to deep dive into it next week. We're going to read some of the interior pages, etc., and look at it further. But make sure you're following us everywhere at Splinterverse so you can get access to these discounts. They come out at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time every Monday on what we call Money Saving Mondays. And that way you can take advantage of these discounts because they only last for about a week and then they're gone. So you want to get in there and get the opportunity to grab the book while you can at the discount. So I'm excited to show you more about Crimson Snow, so stay tuned for that next week. All right, so people have been asking me for my thoughts about the OGL, the Open Gaming License. So I'm not going to get into all the controversies. There's a ton of YouTube creators talking about it right now, but I'll give you kind of a quick description so you can understand what I'm about to say. So the Open Gaming License is one of 3 ways that publishers today with 5th edition can publish for Dungeons and Dragons. You have the DM's Guild, where you are operating under the CCA, the Community Content Agreement, and you're partnering with Wizards, and basically 50% of what you make goes to one bookshelf and DM's Wizards of the Coast is what I should say, and then the rest goes to the creator. And so you can use more IP of Dungeons and Dragons and things like that. Then you have the fan content policy, which is people doing homebrew and giving that away for free. So that's another sort of policy, legal document, etc. Then you have the Open Gaming License, which is accompanied by an SRD, which is a system resource document. And this is really how anybody publishing on DriveThruRPG or through Kickstarter or any of these other places, 5th edition compatible content are allowed to do it. And that's that they can only use certain words that are in the SRD, the system resource document. They can only use certain mechanics there. And then, of course, they can invent their own. But like, for example, the Artificer class, that is not in the SRD. So the only way you can write for the Artificer is to publish on DM's Guild or to do fan content. You can't do it through the Open Gaming License. But all the other classes are available because they're in the SRD. So you can publish books that have that content. So our Potions Unlocked book, our Swarms of the Multiverse book, those are OGL books and do reference things in the SRD and are published outside of the DM's Guild on DriveThru, etc. So there's talk of changing the Open Gaming License as part of the One D&D movement, which is the future edition of D&D, 6th edition, whatever it's going to be called, but it's right now called One D&D, and there's talk of changing it. There's been some leaked versions of the OGL. There's been comments from people that have seen it, all these things. So those are rumors, and we're not going to comment on those. But if you look at those documents, there's a number of scenarios that can happen, and some of those scenarios are extremely restrictive for third-party publishers like ourselves and those that we cover every week on these videos. And so it's really concerning. And I think it's important that even though these things are leaks, I think it's important to let Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro know that you support third-party creators and that, how you feel about it. If you feel like, if they restrict and push out third-party creators, what would your response be? I'm not going to make that decision for you. I can tell you there are scenarios that could happen where we don't publish any Dungeons and Dragons content anymore from Splinterverse. So that's one potential outcome. Again, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm hopeful that cooler heads will prevail and that Wizards of the Coast will recognize that a lot of the popularity that they have right now and the resurgence that they've had after sort of the disaster of 4th edition is due to this open gaming license, because it's brought in Critical Role, it's brought in publishers like all the ones we've covered this week and in previous weeks, and even us into the mix. If it wasn't for the OGL, we would have never published for Dungeons and Dragons. And so if they cut that off, which again is rumored but not proven, the chance for all of these creators to just go away and stop amplifying it. I mean, if you think about it, it's like introducing people to D&D. If somebody first discovers D&D through Critical Role or one of the books we've covered this week or even one of our books, we are amplifying Hasbro's product. We are saying get into Dungeons and Dragons. They're going to need that DMG. They're going to need that player's handbook, right? So we're bringing them customers with all the things that we're up to and we're doing. And we're advertising their product 24/7 on YouTube and all these places, Twitch, where people are streaming the game, etc. You cut that off, it's really not, in my mind, the best business decision from Hasbro. So I'm hoping that they'll change their mind and come up with another plan if indeed these leaks reflect their plans. But the reason I wanted to talk about it is because all of you watching, whether you're a creator or a consumer of these books, I think it's important to let Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast know how you feel about third-party creators and what you want for the future. Do you want things to continue to be open? That's what this hashtag on screen is about, hashtag OpenD&D. Or do you want to just go blindly along with whatever Wizards of the Coast comes up with? So, now's the time. They're listening, they're hearing, there's tons of people tweeting this hashtag. So if you really want to help third-party creators, just you don't have to be mean or rude. You can just say, I want content to be open. I want the open gaming license to stay intact. There's talk of revoking it. Whatever you want to say, make sure you're heard. Whatever your point of view is, even if you're against it being open, feel free to express yourself. I don't want to tell anybody how to think or what to say, but we at Splinterverse Media, we believe in the open gaming license, and we wouldn't exist if it wasn't for that. So please take a moment, think about it. Maybe even just browse some of the tweets under this hashtag, or look through YouTube, search for OGL, and you'll see some of the things going on. More than anything, I want everyone who watches this to be aware of what's going on and to think about what's at stake for people. I mean, a lot of people during the pandemic, they quit their jobs and they've started doing D&D stuff full time. And if the OGL goes away, that could be done for them. They may have to totally reorganize their whole lives. And I just don't think it's necessary. I think D&D thrives with this. When third edition was out with an OGL and SRD and all that stuff, it thrived. As soon as fourth edition came around and had this sort of restrictive area, even second edition, when it had that restrictive area, the game started dying off. And so here we are in another even numbered edition, potentially sixth edition, and there's talk of restricting. And what happens? It shrinks, the market shrinks. So it's ultimately bad for Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast too. But anyway, I've said enough about this. I just wanted to make sure you all know that I'm supporting the Open D&D movement, and that I hope we can get some sort of really great resolution for everybody involved, so that we can keep seeing wonderful books like we talked about today, because these books might all go away if the licensing becomes very restrictive in the future, which is just one of possible outcomes. So we'll have to stay tuned and see what the official version is. But in the meantime, do some homework, do some research, learn about what's happening, and let your voice be heard. That's what's important to me. So hashtag OpenD&D. All right, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Follow us at Splinterverse everywhere. Share the video out there with your friends and anybody who's interested in D&D, or even this issue of Open D&D and the Open Gaming License. Also, please leave a comment. I will respond to all those personally. Like the video for the algorithm, and click those links in the video description. Support these third-party creators, especially if they go away. These might be your only opportunities to get some of this material. So, click those links, support these creators, let them know that you're behind them. And if you purchase anything after clicking those links, you're also going to support us in this channel. So we appreciate that when you do your shopping with us. And if you want to take it further, we have 7 books we've released, including our recent Dragonlance companion, all linked in the video description as well. Or you can go to splinterverse.com to check all those out and support us that way. So whatever way you do it, we're very happy to have you part of the Splinterverse universe of fun content and people that have just a positive energy for each other, which is really nice, and we like it here. So thanks so much for being a Splinter friend and being part of this universe with us and supporting us. We appreciate it. And until next time, happy adventuring.